Hey friends, it's Tanya back again with a video, this time featuring the October 2019 card kit of the month from Spellbinders. Here is a quick peek at what comes in that kit. It's loaded with goodness, including paper and cardstock and designer paper and ephemera and card bases and envelopes, 10 of them. We're going to be using also the Rectangles Essentials dies from Spellbinders. And I'm using the dotted piercing, I'm not sure what to call that, detail with these. So I'm going to use the dark green cardstock that comes with the kit. And we're going to cut out a panel. And to make the most of this panel, I'm also going to use this fun branch, looks like a pine tree branch, that's included in this wonderful die set. And we're going to cut those out of the center, because we're going to cover that area up anyway, and we're going to put this layer on top of it. I did manage to get 4 pine branches out of this panel, which you won't see at all. And we're going to use one of the card bases that comes with the kit. Just going to glue that down quickly with the Barely Art Precision Glue that I love. These are going to be fairly flat cards. For me, I tend to do a ton of layering with mine, and I like some dimension, but we're going to keep these kind of flat since these are going to be Christmas cards, which you tend to mail a ton of, especially, you know, if you're a card maker. So I'm just going to tack these on. We're going to make this look like a bough of a Christmas tree is hanging over. I am using a heavy block to add a little weight to make these stick a little better. You may already have this card kit in your stash if you subscribe to the Spellbinders Kit of the Month club. And I did happen to have this one in my stash. And Spellbinders asked me to make a video. Or actually, they asked me to make some projects to share on any of my social media accounts. And I was able to get right on that. In that spirit, I made 25 cards with this card kit. Yeah, 25. And that was predominantly using the ephemera as the focal points and the die cuts. I have used every single one of the dies in that die set, and I have actually used those in the past for other kit or other projects, just not using the kit. I'm notorious for getting kits and not using them as intended. It's just how I roll. I can't help it. And when I pulled this kit out to play with it, to try to create just 3 projects, I ended up planning out all 25 of these cards before I even started. And then I felt compelled to finish them, which is what took me so long to finish this video. Can you believe it? I am, of course, using coaster blanks to add a little dimension to that, and I did get a little carried away with this one ornament in the middle. There are, I think, 4 layers. I am using the silver mirror cardstock from the kit, which is shiny on both sides. I'm just going to tack that down with a little bit of washi tape to hold them in place. And then I'm going to run them through my Sidekick just because that fits under my camera. I do have a Spellbinders Platinum, and that's not the Platinum 6. I have the full-size Platinum. Love it. I pretty much just use the Platinum and my Sidekick now. And I have a Cuttlebug, I have a Big Shot, and this is what I prefer to use, the Platinum. I was using the Big Shot pretty exclusively, and then almost killed one of my favorite dies a few years ago and decided I needed the larger platform, and I don't regret it. I love it. Anyway, back to the card. So I'm going to use that same glue to tack this down. Just going to dab glue all along the back of this word, and I'll glue that down to, well, you'll see. I changed my mind where I'm going to put it. I love these words, and now that I found a glue that works very well, it doesn't make a mess, and has a super fine point, I love it. Love them even more, and I'm actually finding that I use them a whole lot more. I decided to put this one on top of the ornament. Since there are 2 of each of the ephemera pieces, I am going to make 2 cards with the same layout, but slightly different, each of them. There are some really pretty little gems in this kit that I'm going to use on several of my cards. I'm only showing you 6 of the cards that I made with this kit. This one is a slightly stepped up version. I'm using the Picot Petite rectangle dies and the rectangle glimmer plates, essential rectangle glimmer plates, plus one of the glimmer sets. I think that's the Yana Smakula holiday greetings. I'll have the name of that, or I'll have the actual glimmer foil kit linked below. Now the designer series paper, printed paper that comes with this kit and all of the kits is really lightweight, which is great if you want to do some origami or some other things, but I like it a little heavier, so I put some cardstock on the back of it. I just glue it down, easy peasy. Now I've got a heavier weight cardstock, and I've done that with all of the pattern paper that I use in this video. They all have some cardstock on the back. I did take some shimmery white paper and die cut these flowers. It looks like a poinsettia. I'm going to add some glimmer with the Essential Circles glimmer foil. And I'm using, I think that is Prism. It's the silver-ish foil, very holographic. On the circle that I cut out, I am going to use the same owl and swan and the same bows, and I am going to add some cute little, those could be poinsettias, they could just be a 5-pointed or 5-petal flower. I'm going to add some of those. This is going to ultimately be a birthday card, I believe. There are several little gift packages that we're putting underneath the owl and the swan. And I had actually made this card first. No, I didn't. Did I? I don't remember. But those are the scraps from the previous card. So I only used 1 sheet of each of those pattern papers to make the 2 cards. I do have a piece of the silver mirror cardstock as a piece of ribbon across the front where those 2 pieces of cardstock meet, or pattern paper meet. We're going to tack these little fellas down quickly on that circle. Again, trying to minimize the amount of dimension I'm putting on this because I tend to go a little wild with that. And these card bases are a little bit lighter weight than the usual that I use. I am adding a piece of cardstock on the inside, white cardstock, just to give me something to write on, because the cardstock base that comes with the card kit is not the easiest to write on with the pens that I like to write with. Just a plain ballpoint pen will write on them nicely, but I like to use like my fountain pens and my gel pens and those kinds of things, and they're a little more finicky. They get a little picky. So I put a little bit of cardstock on the inside. You can see that I'm propping up these little critters with some little scraps of coaster blank, which is my secret weapon in all things craftiness. They are a lightweight paper also, these ephemera pieces, but they're so pretty. There's foiling and glitter on them, and maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. On these packages, there's little greenery. Well, they're not green, but it's greenery, and some of it's silver glittered and some of it's foiled, and it's all super pretty. I can't wait to get I know people who have December birthdays, and I feel like this is perfect. It's like a combination of the holiday season and a celebration of their birthday. One of my daughter-in-laws has a birthday December 22nd, I believe. And when you have a birthday in December, you just kind of get gypped, especially with the closer to Christmas that it is. So I try to make a big deal of her birthday for her every year. This will probably be her card. We shall see. This is the last package on this card. I'm going to add these cute little flowers. Just going to tack those in. And I do pull out those pretty blue gems on this card. And we're just going to scatter those about. We're going to add them as the centers for the flowers. And these are already adhesive backed gems. Spellbinders is pretty good about sending gems with their kits. I think they're in at least a quarter of the kits that I've gotten. And now we're going to add the scattering. Do you ever make Christmassy Christmas cards? That's an interesting statement. I would hope they're Christmassy if they're Christmas cards. No, do you ever make birthday cards that are slightly Christmas themed? I'd love to hear. Now this next one is the dark. Oh, I fibbed. That was the first two cards were the ornament cards. Now we've got the owl and swan. So yes, I did make this card first actually, and the other card is the scraps from this, because that circle I cut out of a 3x3 piece of that pattern paper, and then I had a gobs left. So that's those two. This one says Happy Holidays, and the second card I made is the birthday themed one. They could both be birthday themed, but even that Happy Holidays was from the ephemera pack. Now there's a stamp set included with this kit also, and we're going to use that also. It has gobs of sentiments that you can use in a variety of ways. They're separate pieces that you can combine to make a sentiment. And this is a piece of white cardstock that I am stamping with Versamark, that pine bough. And I'm going to use one of my favorite techniques to add a little something to a white card base, and that is to white satin pearl heat emboss them on the base, and that adds a little bit of texture, a little bit of interest. It makes it less, it just gives a lovely detail and brings cohesiveness to the card. I like clean and simple, but I have to have some texture or detail to make things a little extra special. Just how my mind works. And the magic of heat embossing. Oh, I don't know about you, but I have an entire library card drawer full of embossing powder. I found an old library card, where you'd go to find the title you're specifically looking for in an old-fashioned library setting. I'm sure they still have them. I'm sure they still have that style, but I found one at an antique store, and it's become the place I store all my little bits and bobs, all my ink pads, etc. Boy, I got off track. So we're going to die cut that again with the Essential Rectangles die with the piercing detail. And I just poke out any of them that don't come out easily or with the die. Most of the time I have to poke them out of the die. It's okay. Or smack it on the edge of a desk. That knocks out a lot of the chads. We're going to add this to the white card base that came with the kit. And then we're going to layer on our ephemera. This one actually came together super fast, and I really like that white background with the boughs on the back. I'm going to layer these trees on, which have silver like snow detail on them. Just going to layer those together so that it looks like some of them are more distant. And this, there's stars and a saying, I think it says, all is calm, all is kind of on the Silent Night theme on those. And we're going to add these glittery stars that were part of the ephemera pack also. The trees, everything just gets tacked down with the glue, and this is a pretty flat card. You can see the insert that I'm going to put inside the card laying next to it, which is Glimmer foiled, again with that Prism Glimmer foil with the Essentials rectangle Glimmer foil die or Glimmer foil plate, and with the sentiment Christmas sentiment plate, and that will be added later. On the ephemera, there's often little tiny nubs on the sides that need to be trimmed off. At least for me, they need to be trimmed off. That's where they were connected in the sheet before they were popped out. And they do come all popped out. You don't have to do that. So I'm going to add some more of these sparkly little rhinestones. If you have this kit already and you've used up your rhinestones, but you still have a bunch of the ephemera, you can certainly use whatever rhinestones you'd like. I'm sure that there are dies and stamps that you could translate this whole design into if you loved it enough. I know I have supplies in my stash that I could probably make work with that too. So don't think that this is exclusive to the set. I'm sure you could come up with ways to translate these designs into other stamp sets. Here is the pair of the deer cards together. And then we have the next one I'm going to do. I'm using this dark navy blue background pattern. And here I am knocking out those chads with the roller thing. Also using this circle essential circles dies. And we're going to take that same rough layout with the trees and the deer and the star in the background, and we're going to create this second card. This one's a little faster, I think, because we're not doing this stamping and embossing. So this would be a more simple version of that other card. It's amazing how quickly these cards come together. The planning probably took me, I don't know, about half an hour to plan out all of these cards. And when I say all, I mean all 25 of the cards that I ended up making. And I'm not going to show you all of them. I'm just showing you 6. You'll have to come back another time to see those, or check out I'll probably just post them all on Instagram. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram, you might want to check that out. I do have that listed at the end of the video. Now this circle is going to be pretty flat. You're going to see that I apply the coaster blank to both of those circles together so that they're all flush. They're all the same height on the card base. Quickly adhering that to the card base, and then we're going to add some, there it is, coaster blank. How far are you along on your Christmas card creating? I think I have probably, I don't know, 50 cards made. That may be enough. I only send between 60 and 100. I know some, well, okay, that's what I start with. Once I start sending to crafty friends, that list really grows. My husband and I both come from very large families. So there are so many people to send cards to. And last year, I made cards for my mom to send to her family also. And I might do that with these. These might be for my mom to send. She lives in a nursing home, and she does really enjoy sending cards to her family. However, I usually have to be there to help her with it, like with addressing the envelopes and putting the stamps on and getting them to the mail. She likes to sign them, and she likes to help figure out who's going to get which cards. But she has some trouble with her handwriting. We're going to use the holiday cheer and some of the little sentiments. We're going to take some scraps of white cardstock and stamp the other sentiments. So I've got sending you And we're going to make that say holiday cheer. So I'm using a little bit of silver embossing powder from my stash. Now, this one, the one that I actually filmed, didn't stamp as well as it could have. It was the very first time I'd used that stamp. So I do stamp it again and heat emboss it again. And now I'm going to do one of the things I fear doing the most, and that is trying to cut out a sentiment strip by hand because I'm not very good at it. We're just going to say I just don't cut very straight. And I am going to be okay with that. Again, we're using the silver foil or mirror cardstock that comes with the kit. I'm just going to tack those down again. So this is officially all of the dies from the kit. I've used all of them on these 6 cards. Easy peasy. They just pop right out. The foil paper that you get with these kits is stunning. I shouldn't say foil, it's mirror card. And it's on both sides. It's shiny and metallic on both sides. Love it. And you can't see the holiday cheer as well on the video as you can in real life. And I do believe I'll show you that a little more. Again, just tacking it down with some glue. I don't add any extra dimension to it. This mirror card has plenty of heft on its own. It does require a little weight on top of it to let it dry and adhere well, but it does adhere well once it's dry. And there is the 6th card. We're also going to add, excuse me, more of the foiled panel that goes inside. Now, if you get a little bit of overfoiling, you just use an eraser lightly over the entire piece and it takes away the overfoiling. We're just going to tack that inside the card, and that will be the end of this card also. I had a lot of fun creating with this card kit, and I hope you check it out. You can find a list of clickable links in the description box of this video. And here's a quick shot of all of the cards I created and close-ups of them also. There are 6 cards I created with this kit, and I hope you enjoyed all of them. Please take a moment to leave me a comment. Tell me what you loved about these cards and what you'd like to see me do more of. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so that you will get notified with every video that I create. You can still get this kit at Spellbinders, and that will be linked also, and there will also be links to all of the other products I used. If you want to check me out on my other social media, there I am, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.